Hi everybody, welcome back to Spruverse, my scale model universe. And we're working on the HMS Victory from DeAgostini. It's an all-wood construction. And I'm on pack 3, stage 26, if you are actually building this model. Things have been going really well, and I've been enjoying sort of taking a break from my regular activity down at the other shop, and I'm up in Oregon for a few weeks vacation, so this is where my Victory is. So I've been enjoying sort of taking a break from Victory and then coming back to it and learning a lot more about it. And because this is my first wood construction build of this scale and skill, I've been relying a lot on a couple of other really talented builders. What I should say is John Builds Model Ships is a great YouTube channel, and I've enjoyed learning a lot from him. He's dedicated, his patience, and his explanations make it a lot of fun. I am currently planking the exterior of the ship of the Victory. I'm on level 12. The way it wants you to start is on both sides. You essentially start your planking so that you can cut in your gun ports, which I've done, and I'll show you that in just a second. The second thing it asks you to do after you've gone around and done that, it gives you a break, and then you go onto the 12-pounder cannons and you do a little bit of other work on the bow of the ship, and I'll show you that as well. And now we're continuing up to what they're calling stage 12 of the planking, and that gives you enough planks to cut in another row of gun ports. There are the 3 rows of these, and it is an awful lot of work. And then we're going to have to go back at some point and clean up the frames around them and square those off. Now, I do know that there is several lengths of material that comes with the kit for you to frame them off. But I also know that my good friend Wayne over at World of Wayne has sent me an STL file for me to print out some boxes that I can slide in. Now, I don't know if they're the exact size of the boxes that I've already cut. I've cut 12 mil boxes, maybe a little shorter. So I'm going to have to see whether or not I can actually adjust the size of those boxes and make them work for me, because if I can, they will really save me an awful lot of time in cleanup. But having said that, part of the fun of this and the therapy of this for me is working with wood, and just how beautiful that is, and how you can sand it and shape it, and just how beautiful it is when it's finished. And it takes wood fillers so well. I'm using a natural wood filler from Elmer's to fill in all of those gaps, and then, where you have them in the planking, sand that down. And it really is seamless, and it's going to take paint really well. But as you really dive into this kit and you realize just how much work goes into it, every aspect of it just generates hours of fun for me personally, but it is an awful lot of work. I would imagine, I don't even want to guess on how many hours it's going to take to ultimately finish this beautiful, beautiful presentation. But as I said, I get to take a break from it here and there, and that's been really good for me. So I'm glad that I'm able to split my time between Oregon and my home in Los Angeles, and give myself a chance to work on this and then take a break. As we have talked about in previous episodes, I've not been very good at doing a build diary, and I'm going to try and make an effort to do a better job at explaining what I'm doing, and also the build diary itself, because I'm not a master model maker. I'm just a mediocre modeler who loves this world. And every day I sit down at this bench, I just feel like I'm learning something, and I get better and better. So that's been really fun. Some of the challenges are, of course, where you've got this, some of the laminated frame, some of it is a little warped, some of it is made of a weird material. I know they had a problem, I think, DeAgostini, with distribution, and I think possibly even access to certain kinds of material, wood material, to finish this kit. So they shifted to another kind of material that is made of birch, I believe, and it doesn't behave the way balsa does. It's not as soft, it's not as forgiving. For instance, when I'm trying to soak it to bend it around the hull, you've got to soak it for several days, where with balsa you can soak it for a few hours and you're good to go. So it reacts a lot differently, and I'm learning how to work with that, because unfortunately when I purchased the whole kit, I've noticed that you get a bulk of balsa, but then you get a bulk of the birch, so it's mixed up. But they have done some other things that I think improve the model. Early on, when I first started looking at the first few packs, things like the 12-pound cannons, the wheels were made of wood, and they were laser etched, and you had to break all of it out and clean it up. And later on, I've noticed they shifted to a different source, and so it looks like they're using a plastic bead of some kind for the wheels. And they've already they pre-cut the sides for you, and so they made it a lot easier for us to build these 12-pound cannons. So I really appreciate that. And they obviously pre-painted the cannon itself. So I've noticed that there was clearly a definite change in the workflow and the quality control and the process of how this kit came together. Very interesting. So anyway, let me give you a closer look of what I'm doing and where I am. So here we are on the bench, and as I mentioned, what I'm doing is this is plank one. They call it plank one, and they ask you to start moving up towards the very top of the ship, which I'm doing. And right now, you can see I'm on row 11. I'm on row 10, and I've got rows 11 and 12. And then what that will allow me to do is to put in the next set of gun ports, which will be adjacent to these ports. So they sort of stagger up. I did not have a lot of trouble actually getting these all cleaned up. I actually, sorry, I'm noticing a piece of junk in there. I actually had a good time cutting these out, and I did cut a little 12 mil square little template for myself, and that made it a lot easier. But as I said to you, some are birch and some are balsa, and so the net result of that was you get a little bit of flimsiness right here, because obviously this is a very weak part, because there's nothing behind it. It's literally from frame piece to frame piece. And so when you go to cut this out, obviously you've got a little bit of strength here and on the side where it hits the support, but here it's just completely held on by this piece right here. And obviously you're cutting out this piece, so it's just this piece, and it's very, very flimsy. So what I've been doing is I've been using a piece of, and I've mentioned this before, I've been using a piece of stock to put behind here like this, and just gently push it out while I sand this and work on it. And the other thing that I've been doing too is when I glue the next plank on top of it, what I've been doing is I've been heavily gluing not only the surface of this plank and then the sides, and then of course I'm using pins, and all of this is going to get sanded down and putted in, but it's actually made it a lot firmer. And here what I've done is I've really heavily soaked the surface with glue and just let it soak in and dry, and that's made these rock solid. But you can see this one I haven't done yet. This one I've done, and this one I haven't done, and you can see the difference. And so I'm going along and I'm making sure that all of these are done that way, so that I don't risk any kind of breaking or snapping, because if that breaks, you're in a world of hurt. So that's what's going on there. Let me gently turn the kit around here, and you can see this is what it looks like from the back. Now, what I've been doing is I've started to build up this piece right here, and we're getting ready, obviously, for this is the bow of the ship, actually, the front of the ship, I should say. I don't know my stone from my bow. I'm embarrassed, but this is the bow of the ship. And I've started to do a little bit of puttying work here, or I should say wood filler here. And so I've just got to do a little more sanding here. But I have to say, it really, really works really well. And I'm very happy with this. It's all nice and straight and square and lined up and ready to go. So what I'm doing now is I'm actually going to finish this up to level 12. And then it's going to ask me to proceed with cutting in the next level of gunports. And so that's where we are. Let me give you a quick look at the back. So what they've asked us to do, and I've done it here, and I'll show you underneath, is I have cut in 2 gunports underneath, which, interestingly enough, you run into frame supports, but they tell you not to worry, because I believe these are going to be in the closed position for the final presentation of the boat. And everything here on the stern is ready for the next assembly pieces. And we've made a jig, and what this jig allows you to do, it's very clever. You actually sort of just lean this up against the boat like this, and as you can see, you get the proper angle for carrying on up the levels. This is going to receive the side panels of the window section. So it's all coming along quite nicely, and I'm very happy with it. Obviously, nothing has been puttied or sanded or finished yet. It's still in its raw state, but it's coming together quite well. So that's it for this update. So that's where we are. It doesn't seem like an awful lot of work, but it's hours and hours of work to get there. And the details of this are, they're quite nuanced, and it's taking a lot of time. But the one thing I do recommend is, and I'm sure you guys already know this, is you've got to have sharp blades. So if you're using 17 or 18 chisels from X-Acto, or you're using the number 11 blades, you got to have several hundred on standby, because if you replace them after doing say a porthole or doing a little bit of trimming, and you keep it extra sharp, you get really crisp cuts, and you don't risk damaging anything. That's what I found. When you leave the blade on too long, it gets dull very fast, guys. And unfortunately, you'll start making mistakes. So it can be, I suppose, a little expensive to be doing that, but I think it's well worth it. I think you get a better result. So anyway, that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already. We're going to be doing a lot more Victory in July and August. And we'll continue to chronicle this build as it goes along. So I'm very excited to share that with you. Until then, be well, be safe, build something, and we'll see you next time. Take care, everybody.